Hey everyone, and welcome to another SMP Relatable. In our previous video, we talked about the emotional buying line and the impact that spending can have if we haven't budgeted for the things that we buy. Now, when I use the word budget, I often see people cringe. However, for those of you who can spend the next few minutes away from your social scrolling to understand how our clients budget, you might just find yourselves above the emotional buying line more often than not. Now, to be a successful budgeter, we need three things. We need to understand our budget, structure it correctly, and then control it. Today is part one in understanding our budget. And the first step to doing that is splitting our spending in two different categories. First one being a weekly budget, the other being monthly living expenses. I'll explain the reasoning for this type of structure in the upcoming videos. Before we get into the budget, however, you might not do these things on a weekly basis. So if that's the case, look back over the last 12 months, see how much you may have spent, divide it by 52, and that'll give us a weekly figure. The other thing also is that I don't want you adding anything else to this list. Only add money to the categories that we're going to go through today. Okay, so let's get going. Groceries, Woolies, Aldi's, Coles, etc. I often find that people will do one big shop, but we'll have to go back throughout the course of the week to do top-ups, maybe for dinners or lunches, etc. And that's why we've got two different numbers here. Takeaway and dining out. Again, we might not do it on a weekly basis, but sometimes we're just forced to for things outside of our control, or maybe there's just no food in the fridge, so by default we have to go spend some money. Lunches that we actually buy and drinks, things like coffees, teas, Red Bulls, juices, whatever keeps you going throughout the course of the day. It's amazing how much money people can spend on coffees each week. Fuel and public transport. Keep in mind that Uber and taxis are still public transport. So if we're using that for work or if we need to catch these things to go for dining out, make sure we budgeted for it. Alcohol and cigarettes. I'm a reformed smoker, so I know how much it can cost to smoke. So more so, I know how much I can save now that I no longer smoke. But again, we're budgeting for it. Entertainment. Now, this is not for Stan, Netflix, Foxtel, etc. This is for more activity-based entertainment. Going to live shows, concerts, sporting events, something with the family, whatever it may be. Miscellaneous. Not everybody wants to tell me what they spend their money on. Totally respect that. But I want to explain what I use miscellaneous money for. Each week, me and my partner, we take our $50, we pop it into our wallets. Now, at that time, we pretty much budgeted for everything that we need to spend money on, but I might want to get a cheeky burger on the way home or have a beer on a Friday afternoon. I can still spend this money without feeling guilty. But more times than not, I've still got money left over, so I pop it in a jar and so does she. Now, what we do at the end of the month is we often have a couple of $100 still sitting in that jar of money we haven't spent, so we go out and have a really nice dinner or maybe go and do something that we haven't done before. The best part about this is we don't feel guilty because we've already budgeted for spending that money, and that's what keeps us above the emotional buying line. So calculate up what you've got and figure out what you've spent on a weekly basis. For those of you who've actually done this exercise, I congratulate you, because for most people, they haven't even bothered. Now, before we go through the monthly living expenses, which is going to come in the following video, I want you to resonate on these numbers here and truly own your budget. Don't lie to yourself and don't lie about these numbers. Make sure that you can stick to these figures of money. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and share this with your friends and family. Make sure you tag somebody that you know should be budgeting and tell them to stay tuned for the next one being the monthly living expenses. And remember, anything worth having in this life, we want to save, make, and protect.